Mercado Vial TV, un mundo de máquinas.
Thank you, Dana. Here we are in CONEXPO 2023 in Las Vegas, Nevada, United States. You know, CONEXPO is one of the most important construction equipment expositions in this part of the world. We went to Bauma, of course, in Germany, but North America and America as a whole thing, the most important construction equipment show. So to talk a little more about CONEXPO, I invited Dana, who is director of CONEXPO, of all event. And Dana, it's your last name, please. Help me with your last name here.
It's Wuesthoff.
Wuesthoff. I tried to say it in a German way, but it wasn't the case. So thank you for your time and welcome to your podcast place. This is quite new. You have a lot of press rooms for making interviews, so thank you for thinking on
Well, you're very welcome, and I'm just so happy to be able to chat with you today, and thank you for coming to the show.
Thank you. Let's start talking about CONEXPO. You know, I've been here, as I told you, like from 15 years. It's always something new. It's always a new lot. You know, now I think you have Diamond Lot and Wuesthoff. Let's start talking about CONEXPO. What's the idea of this exposition? What's the focus? And what's your story inside AEM? And let's talk about you also a little. But
Sure. Well, I'll start with the easy stuff. Okay. So, of course, you know, Dana Wuesthoff, I'm the show director for CONEXPO-CON, and I work for the Association of Equipment Manufacturers. We are the owner and producer of CONEXPO-CON. I've been there nearly about 18 years.
Oh,
so this is, yes, not always in this
like
role.
Me.
Yeah. My second show cycle in this particular role is being the show director. And for CONEXPO-CON, I feel like one of the easiest ways to sum it up is we really are just the gathering spot, the kind of the epicenter of the construction industry. You know, here in North America, we really are just so excited to be here. The breadth and the span of products and brands, exhibitors, technology, innovation. I mean, you really just look around and, you know, what CONEXPO-CON offers is just that platform for people to experience. And really, we kind of like to phrase it as just taking construction to the next level. You know, there are so many different services and innovation and technology, and you can come here and you can see it all, and you can see it all in action. And it really is just kind of, like I said, like the epicenter of the construction industry.
It is. Do you remember the size of this thing? I mean, the number, you have the number in your mind? Because this is huge, and it's bigger than the last one. It's 5% bigger,
It is,
I think.
yes, about 5% larger than our last edition, which was in 2023. So, of course, we'll share a release with all of the final numbers post-show, including attendance and everything. But I can tell you we're over 2,000 exhibiting companies here, and we are over 2.8 million net square feet. And if you're not, you know, kind of in the live event planning world, a lot of times that doesn't mean much to people. Yeah. But if you translate that over, that's over 65 acres of exhibits.
Oh my God, yeah.
It is a lot of ground. So yeah, the show is very large.
And talking about the whole map of CONEXPO, you have new things, new lots. When I came the first day, I think I was kind of a little lost at the beginning, you know, because I heard you in another interview, you were talking about the gold lot. I'm one of the old guy from the gold lot.
We call you veterans, not old. Veterans.
That's the word you use. Yeah, I remember now. So I was prepared to encounter with the gold lot, and then it disappeared, and now, well, tell us about what is new.
Yeah. So for those, as we say, those veterans that we, of course, love and appreciate of the show, most people, they might remember the gold lot. And now in 2020, if folks were here, it was a giant construction site. And here we are in 2023. and it's a brand new, beautiful, convention center building called the West Hall. And of course, because at CONEXPO-CON we have exhibits everywhere, including outdoors. Essentially, the parking lot for West Hall is what is called Diamond Lot. So the Diamond Lot is essentially the parking lot for West Hall, and of course, that's an exhibit space for us as well. So that is certainly part of our footprint for our 2023 show, that new hall and lot. And of course, we are again at the festival grounds. So every time you come back, the footprint of the show is a little different.
We talk about the past and the present. What about the future in this map, and what are you thinking for the next presentation?
Yeah,
because just to tell you the truth, it seems that the festival grounds is kind of far from the other things. Is something in the middle that you are buying something there to connect, or maybe from the Vegas Loop under?
It's so funny you say that. I was talking to someone yesterday about this too, and the one thing I can guarantee you is that the city of Las Vegas itself continues to change and evolve. It will look different 3 years from now when we're all back here together again. And the convention center itself has some, additional construction that was supposed to have been going on the last few years. It got delayed a little bit. And so there's definitely always changes. We're always watching the development around Las Vegas. If there's an open lot, or if, someone buys or sells land, we're keeping track of that as well. Because, the footprint has changed, I think, every single time for the last 3 or 4 shows. So I don't pretend to think that it won't change again.
For 2026. Yeah. Another thing, I was talking about the Vegas Loop. That was a really good idea. I mean,
did you have a chance to ride it and
course,
experience it?
We film it, we take pictures. It was weird at the beginning, know, and the guys would go really fast,
Right.
But it was a really good idea connecting. In 2020, it wasn't here.
No, do you know the funny thing is during our 2020 show, the machines that bore those tunnels underground, they were boring. They were boring those tunnels during our 2020 show. So it's kind of crazy to think about how people were here above the ground walking the exhibits and experiencing the show, and under the ground they were boring those tunnels and no one had any clue. And of course now we all get to enjoy the results of all of that.
And well, we talk with the with the drivers, and they kind of share some information about the future of the Vegas Loop. They say they might be maybe go to the festival grounds.
It definitely will be expanding. We work very closely with the Las Vegas Convention and Visitors Authority. They are the people who own the convention center. They of course help draw business to the city, and they're really the people behind
that,
who work with that. So we work closely with them, and they do tell us that there is a plan to expand that, certainly up and down the Las Vegas Strip. So there would be more,
to the hotels.
They call them connectors. There would be more connectors. Right now there's just one, from the Resorts World Hotel to the Convention Center Loop, as they call it. So they tell me the plans are to expand that and to add more hotel stops and eventually connect it to the airport. They of course, there's no formal information out there, but what I'm told is at least 60 more stops, if you will, feeding into that whole system. So,
well, that was a surprise.
Right. And like I said, in 2020, they were boring that. And here we are in 2023.
Incredible.
Experiencing
I saw
it.
Head of the boring machine
it's so large. It's crazy. Yeah. So I imagine when we all come back in 2026 that there will be many more stops along that. Yeah.
Well, the driver said that, I don't know, that Tesla paid for it, and this is a marketing thing. I don't know, drivers always are talking about funny things. But taking you again to the past, we were talking about the difference between 2020 and 2023, and I was here in 2020. What was your experience that with the COVID and all thing? It was crazy, and what give you for to think for the future, and what was the sensation of the people of the show on 2020, because you have to cut one day at the end.
Yeah,
it was weird.
for me personally, I think it was probably for a lot of others a very surreal experience.
Yeah, it was.
We had never really experienced anything quite like that, and at that point, we didn't even know what it was. The word pandemic had
Yeah.
not even really
Pop
been
up, yeah.
attached to that yet. It was simply, well, there's this thing and it's called this, and there was so much do this, don't do that.
Yeah.
The directions on what not to do or what to do was very changing from day to day. And for us, really, it was just kind of taking one day at a time. And of course, we were so very, thankful that we were able to still gather as an industry and have, the show together. From attendee and exhibitor perspective, I mean, we still had a lot of people show up, and it's kind of funny, even afterwards, this industry, the construction industry workers, that they're essential workers. I mean, they kind of had to go to work every day, and they went about their business and they just did their job. They also had a very different experience throughout that whole pandemic. And so
it was crazy.
yeah, and then here we go. We fast forward right to 2023, and here we are, and it's just, of course, I'm so very thankful that we're not dealing with anything again,
of
right?
course.
I'm not
But
sure.
people
I
is
would
so happy to meet again with the other customers, with friends,
Yes.
with the machines. And you
Absolutely.
said in that other interview that I saw, people needs to touch the machine,
They really do. I mean, that is one thing that we have learned, over the past 3 years, of course, listening to, the end users, the audience, listening to our exhibiting companies, the OEMs, and wanting to understand what they need and what they want. And really, when it comes to these type of events where we gather together, we all meet face to face, and people get to go out and touch that machine.
Yeah.
They get to
Know
run
about
that
everything,
machine. They get to be right there. I mean, it's just what this industry wants. This industry was built by people. That is all about those connections made, and there's just no substitute for it.
It was. It is. I mean, I have anxiety to come here again, and because 2020 was like a nightmare. It might have been for you, because everybody says, "What's going on with CONEXPO? Is it still going or not?" I mean, you should have received a lot of question. Is it still CONEXPO going on or not? You have to answer one of. It must have been crazy, right? And 2020 was and now come again in 2023. More calm, with
I laugh because it's like, in the world of live events, whether you're planning a giant trade show like this or a small conference or meeting, you always have the same kind of just typical problems, right? Like maybe something comes in late, an order gets wrong, whatever. I mean, those are the typical things, and that's what this was. I'm like, I love this. Give me these typical problems.
Give me these problems.
Tell me something's missing. Yeah, sign's wrong. Let's reprint it. I'm like, give me these. These are great. I like these type of problems.
2020 was crazy. This is funny.
Right.
This is Disneyland.
Good old fashioned. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh my God, it was. Well, talking about 2020, I want to go with you to talk about women. You put the big statue there.
Yes.
Yeah, it was. I don't know if kind of late, but it was in the right moment, because 2023 maybe would be late to remember with a statue. What do you have to say? I mean, I'm so proud of interviewing you, as a woman, like director of CONEXPO. I was expecting a man, of course, because I'm a veteran, and I still have to change my mind to think that, of course, a woman is able to be a director of a show, of a construction show that maybe 70% are men here over there, but what do you have to say about this? What's been your trip in as a director and as a woman?
Well, I mean, first of all, just I can't share enough of the love that I have just for the people within this industry. I mean, they're just such good, hardworking people, and so welcoming. And so I certainly want to put that out there first. And I just feel, in 2020, It's kind of funny because what spurred that, of course, is we have 3 statues of the shows, and they were all added at certain intervals. I'm not even sure when the first one came. It might have been like in the early 90s or something, right? So we have 2 male statues, and for a long time, those were the only 2 in the show, and you would see them in a lot of pictures and stuff like that. And I don't know if it's a surprise to you or not, but behind the scenes, the team at AEM where I work, the people that work on planning this event, a good portion of them are women.
Yeah,
and
I know.
So
I always talk with Jennifer.
Yeah,
Jennifer Gallatin, I sense hello to her.
So internally, we would say a lot like, where's our female statue? Where's our representation? And we hear that too from the women that are work in the construction industry. And so last show cycle was my first chance in this role as show director, and we had always talked about doing that. And for whatever reason, the stars didn't align where we can make it happen. And it was just one small little thing, but I had said, we're going to make this happen this time. We're going to get a female statue, right? It's going to happen. And of course, we were putting a focus on trying to really highlight and create some programming around featuring women in construction. And, a lot of people, of course, workforce is still a topic, but we wanted to lean into that and to say, hey, look at women as part of your solution for workforce, that,
I was about to ask you about
untapped, an untapped potential, right? And so it just so happened that it all worked together. And oh my goodness, did we learn a lot about designing statues, things that I never thought we had to.
I was about to ask you about that. Did you participate on the
we
design?
Did.
Or?
I kind of had a special group of people. I think there was about 6 of them that I kind of formed a little internal team, and I asked them to lead that project. And so I helped, offer up my feedback, but it was just so interesting from the pose that she was in and what she was holding and what her hair looked like. And,
you have to do it right.
Just
once
everything.
Right.
Yeah. Because we wanted to really try to represent, what a real woman looks like in the industry, and so it was funny. The amount of conversations you would have about, someone's pose or how big her muscles were, right?
Didn't you tape that conversation? I mean,
oh my goodness, no, we
God.
didn't. But everyone was very, very proud and happy with the end results. And of course, you can see her standing out there in the festival grounds.
So, as you said, it's not just a statue. It comes with a lot of programs and things like Women in Construction.
Mm-hmm.
I read that only 11% of the construction workers are female yet. Mm-hmm. So there is a lot of work to do.
There is, but the good news is that demographic continues to grow, right? It used to be a smaller percentage. So I think that the more that we can help represent, that segment of that industry and continue to, let them have a voice and remind ourselves that, that there's opportunity there, that, women can do those same jobs as other people. I think that only is a benefit to everyone, and hopefully we'll continue to see that percentage grow.
It's crazy, but of course I'm young, but I'm a veteran also, and I couldn't imagine an operator of a heavy equipment, women, and now it's so common, and we have made a lot of interview with her, and it helps to give them a voice, as you said, to show that there is a woman in an excavator, in a wheel loader, and it's possible to do that, and it's not crazy. We also cover a show of Scania, the brand of trucks, and they have a program for female drivers for trucks also.
Sometimes progress takes a while, but hopefully once you start to get momentum behind it, right, you can continue with it.
Are you planning to stay in as director for the next CONEXPO, or what are?
Yeah, I am.
Because you are also vice president of
Vice President of
Many things.
Yeah,
I don't know.
exhibitions and event services
Yeah.
is my title. And really what that means is I also oversee our team of people who manage a lot of the internal logistics. We call it our event services, but things like our operations, our registration, the badging, credentialing, housing, working with hotel partners and things like that. So it's a lot of kind of like the nuts and bolts behind the scenes for the services that we offer for the trade show. So it works very nice for me. Working with that group of people internally and also kind of sitting in my role as show director, because as you can imagine, so many of those services go hand in hand with creating a valuable experience for both attendees and exhibitors at the show.
So you have a lot of work to do.
I do, but I have an amazing, amazing team of people that I work with, and I couldn't do it without them.
Can you explain a little about Connect, because everybody knows CONEXPO, but aggregates and all the things.
Yes. Yeah. I'll give you a quick little history lesson on it because people are always kind of surprised.
CONEXPO has been held for more than 50 years. Huh?
Yeah.
58 it was the first one? I don't know.
A little bit older than that, actually.
Oh,
so
48, I think, or something like that.
Keep going back.
Yeah. Oh, my God.
So CONEXPO and CONEG were actually two separate shows.
Oh, okay.
So AE, the predecessor to AEM, the Association of Equipment Manufacturers that I work with, they are the owners of the CONEXPO part. And the first CONEXPO was actually held in 1909.
Oh, my God.
In Ohio.
I thought it was in the 50s. Yeah.
No, so it's a very old show. And
in Ohio. Oh, okay.
Yeah, and it came together with CONEG. So CONEXPO is really more like the equipment, the OEM side of it, and CONEG, of course, is more on that aggregates and asphalt side. And so they came together, as CONEXPO-CONEG. There's two other associations that are associated with the CONEG and that show as it came together. So those two shows came together to form CONEXPO-CONEG in 1996. Actually, here in Las Vegas is where that first one was held. And we've been here since then on every 3 years. It's grown quite a bit since that first edition.
Oh my God, yes. It grew, And you also have one of the show that I always interesting, and I was there only one time. It was a World of Asphalt that you held.
Yes.
That's really, really interesting.
Yeah.
This is annual. It's held once a year, right?
World of Asphalt. It's actually held every year that CONEXPO-CONEG is not held. So it has kind of a strange pattern. It's held 2 years in a row.
I remember. Jennifer told me. Yeah.
And then 1 year off.
It's
and then
June. It's weird. But it's not fixed in one place, right?
It's not. Yeah, it moves around.
I went to Houston that time that you put it in Houston. It's really nice because you have World of Concrete that it's not yours, but you have CONEXPO and then you have World
of Asphalt. Yeah.
Yes, I think it's a really good place to only talk about asphalt technology.
It's nice. CONEXPO-CONEG, it's very, very big, and the scope of it is extremely large, right? But for a show like World of Asphalt, it's more of a narrow focus. You can get a little bit deeper into it as well. Of course, we have exhibits there, but we also do a conference portion of it, and the education is very, very popular.
I was about to ask you about the education. What educational things you have over here in CONEXPO? That was the question I had prepared for you.
Oh, look I just teed it up for you.
Yeah, you put it in my mouth. I was forgetting about that. But before we talk about the educational, what did you have besides CONEXPO and World of Asphalt? I used to have something rental. What is it's not yours, right?
Well, for AEM, we have CONEXPO-CONEG and we have World of Asphalt that we just talked about. We also have a show called the Utility Expo.
That one,
and it got a new name.
It's more a local.
It's still a large show. It's a very large show actually. It used to go by the name of ICUEE. And we called it the IQ show.
IQ, I tried to go once because I was interested to go because it's a different atmosphere. The rental guys are not the same.
It's very much focused more on the utility sector of the market, but that show is held every 2 years in Louisville, Kentucky, and actually it's being held this fall.
Yeah, and you have like demonstration and people can
Yes.
use it. Yeah, that's
Yes,
what.
that is a heavy demonstration
Yeah.
show, and attendees love it. They can
Yeah, that
hop
was
right
I
on the
wanted to go
equipment.
because
Yes.
of that, because of the demonstration. Yeah, and I'm going to talk with Jennifer
Yeah,
about that.
it's the utility expo
Yeah,
now,
now
so
you
you'll have to
changed
come and visit. Yeah.
You change. Okay, so just to finish, I was about to ask you about the educational program
Mm-hmm.
you have here, a conference. What?
Yeah, we have over 175 educational sessions in our show programs. Gosh, about like 12 different
Oh my
tracks.
God! Yeah.
Really, just a ton of it. And of course, just walking around the show is really an educational
Yeah.
experience.
Yeah.
The exhibitors really put so much effort into bringing education
They
into their
explain
booths.
you everything you
Yeah,
ask.
whether it's a
Yeah,
live
yeah.
demonstration or they might have, like a panel discussion in their booth. And we work hard with them to try to offer up that information to attendees, like in our show, like planner guides and things like that online, so that, because of course, to the attendee, we know that to them, education is everywhere. It
Yeah, I
might
know.
be in brand X's booth, or it might be in a classroom because it
Yeah.
was a session
You can
that
see
we
a lot
did.
of students,
Yeah.
engineer students, and
Mhm.
yeah, it's incredible. I have one last, maybe awkward question for
Oh,
you.
boy.
Oh no, but I have to ask you about CONEXPO Latin America because I'm from Latin America, and I was so happy to have you over there. I was in the first event, in the first show in Santiago de Chile. I used to live in Chile. I'm from Argentina, but I used to live many years in Chile. So I was living there when CONEXPO Latin America was held, and was the first one, and you have a lot of plans, and then Colombia, and maybe I know that it's not your fault because Latin America is a complicated market, but I want to hear your opinion on what happened over there. What do you have to say about? It's maybe an awkward question, but
I might be the one to disappoint you on that. I'm just probably not the best person to ask on that. I didn't sit in any type of role like this in terms of managing it, but I can tell you that I was there. I helped work on those shows, and
I think
it
I
was such a
remember you.
wonderful experience. Yeah. To go to that show and experience, visiting it in the culture, and I loved the people that I met.
It was nice, but I hope or I wish that you continue doing. But no, I know that then you changed to Colombia. It was really really hard, but to held a new show, and then the market in Latin America went down, and it was really really difficult. And what about Brazil? I mean, well, you have MIT Expo. You never thought about Brazil putting a show over there because you have.
Yeah.
I don't know if you know. Of course, you have all the factories over there. This Caterpillar, Komatsu, the Chinese brand, John Deere. Everybody is in Brazil. It used to be the pretty girl in Brazil. And now it's again in a complicated situation. But are you? The question. Forget about Brazil. Are you planning to expand to another country?
Well, I don't really have anything to share about in terms of that, but I will remind you that who AEM is an organization, the Association of Equipment Manufacturers. Many of the exhibitors that you see out there today, the OEMs, they're our members, and we really focus on our shows. They're by the industry and they're for the industry. So AEM as an organization doesn't really make any of these decisions. It's our members. We have different planning committees and advisory committees that are part of guiding a lot of what you're talking about. Should we be in a region?
Yeah.
Should we have a show or
I was
a partnership?
asking about that, because
and it really comes from what the companies themselves are telling us. And of course, they have a whole network of, partners and dealers and everything. They frankly know those markets better than we do in terms of what their needs are. And so we work very closely with our members and our committees to make those decisions and to make sure that we have to provide value to our show, and
Of
we
course.
have to meet the needs both of attendees and exhibitors. And of course, if we're not thinking or hearing that, we're able to go in and provide value that someone else isn't providing,
Yeah.
then, then it wouldn't make sense for us to do it.
It
So
sounds
I
logic.
may not have answers to some of your
No,
questions.
no,
but
it's
yeah.
okay. Of course, I understand that it's not you who makes the final decision, or you have the answer of this. It's, as you said, a committee, and
And it really, what I
I
guess
was
the
thinking
point.
of Brazil because
Yeah.
a lot of your members are there with big factories, and
Right.
it's a really interested market. So I don't know, maybe sometimes it happens to be in your mind to open a show over there because you're.
I know we certainly watch and we stay close with partners, but and really it is that, though, at the end of the day, it's maybe some like other shows that exist in, markets anywhere. We don't do this to make money. We
I
do
know,
this
I
to
know.
provide a service, and we
You are
listen.
AEM, yeah,
Yeah,
it's-
we listen to the members, and we listen to the manufacturers, and we listen to the end users.
this is for
and
them, yeah.
it is, and they have to tell us that we have needs and they're not being met, and this is how you might be able to do it.
Yeah.
And if it doesn't make sense, then if we can't provide value basically to that equation,
Yeah, I
then
understand,
that's how
I understand.
decisions get made behind there.
Yeah, you are speaking of in behalf of a lot of decision makers
Yeah.
over there that came from the manufacturers. I understand. So I think that's it. After the awkward question of construction of
wasn't so
CONEXPO
bad.
Latin America, but it was really nice to meet you. I have to congratulate you for your director position, and I'm really happy that it's a woman, of course, and congratulate you again for the media space that you create here with the podcast and the press rooms and the drinks and the media kits. That was nice. The media kit to scan it,
Yeah.
to scan them. So it was really nice, and I was surprised because sometimes when I go to a show, used to have a little press room and one bottle of water and nothing to do, and we spend a lot of time here, like 1 week, and it's hard. We are walking, a lot of miles to sometimes it's hot, and
Yeah.
that you take care of us is a really nice gesture. So I'm going to personally thank you.
Well, you're very welcome.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for being here. Thank you for coming. And I'm glad we had a chance to speak with one another. And I hope you have more time to go out and walk around the show and enjoy.
Yes, we have a couple of more days
Great.
until Saturday. So let's see what happened at the end. So thank you for your time for the interview.
Thank you.
Thank you.